Hey, all right. Good evening, LinkedIn. Dave Wilson of the Ring of Hire Show. Hey, listen, this is a great subject, and I'll leave it at this. It's, do you lie on an interview? Do you tell the truth? Or some of the questions that are really kind of crazy anymore. But I'll be right back after this. Boy, that cuts it off quick. Hey, tonight it's pretty simple when you're trying to think of ideas to do for a show for staffing, right? And it was just some things about references and also questions on an interview and what do you say? And I only have a few I want to go over with. So this question here, can you provide 3 references? If you think about it, can you provide 3 references? You're only going to give the best 3, right? Yes, you pick the top 3 because it's kind of a lie in a way. Would you pick, you had an issue with someone or your HR if you didn't get along with somebody or somebody at your branch? But I don't know anymore about that. This is just to think about it, all right? So it's a discussion. I have a couple of them here. So can you provide us 3 professional references? Okay. Besides, again, can you provide us 3 professional references? Are they the right 3? What are you expecting from the references? Do you, as a recruiter, even read the references? I just look at the page. I might look at it a little bit, but I'm just raising that question to you. Nobody's going to put in a bad reference. So to me, it's just kind of a thing you have to do, but nobody really follows it. The next one. This question here, what is your greatest weakness? What is your greatest weakness? I read it twice. I read it over and over. So I sat there and, you write that question. Just think about it. Should it still be in the arsenal of questions? I don't know my greatest weaknesses are. I'm not going to say, hey, I don't work well under pressure. I'm going to go back to school. I missed out on my education. Think about that question and thinking of it in a way that I'm saying it to you. What is your greatest weakness? Now, these are the top 10 on Google. And I'm sorry, for like entry level jobs and, middle management jobs. But what is your greatest weakness? What is of a recruiter are you expecting to hear back? Just ask that yourself. What do you want to hear from, if you were interviewing me, what do you want to hear from myself to say that to you? What's my greatest weakness? I don't know. Maybe it's just me on that one. The next one is, think about it, is what is your greatest strength? Okay. Now, I do like this. Hey, Rob, there he is. There he is. I haven't heard from you in a while, Rob. I've been sick, so trying to suck up this sinus infection. So, but this one here is, what are your greatest strengths? That one I kind of like, because if it's just a basic, what is your, hey, I'm organized. I went to school. I'm a team player. You upscale yourself. I think it could be geared more towards giving you an example, because again, think about this. As a recruiter, if you're interviewing somebody, what are you expecting to hear from that? That's going to make you say, I want to hire this person. What is it? I sat here and I wrote all these things. And let me tell you, it was not easy because do you lie or do you tell the truth? Do you lie or do you tell the truth? And that's what the point I'm trying to get across here tonight. So what is your greatest strength? I think it can be that, but to provide examples and really do the research on the job. Why? This one's a good one. Why did you leave your job of 10 years? Now think about that. Do you lie or do you tell the truth? Why did you leave your job of 10 years? No. Just hear me out on this. I have 8 or 9, right? Do you say the truth? Well, my performance was an issue. I got fired. I had absenteeism problems. I had health issues that were causing me, it was you can't discriminate with health, but that's sometimes I'm just saying bias. Oh, I had problems with a bad manager. I had one bad manager. He was a total, you know what I mean. But do you say that? Rob, do you say it? That question is so loaded because you're going to lie. Simple. You're not going to, a lot of people, do I say get fired? I don't want to say I got fired. I left for this reason. This is why I left. Now you can just say, I'm going to tell you the truth and this is the way it is. Or you can sugarcoat it. Lie. Oh yeah, well, I got laid off from COVID. You're fired. Hey, I heard the company was hiring and it was a better culture. Now that's a good one, right? I wanted to change careers, so I decided the shift wasn't working. The point I'm trying to make, hey, Nick, I see Nick's on there, is what do you say? What do you want to hear as a recruiter? If you're recruiting in an entry level and middle management job, what do you want to hear? Because if you got some 10 years with a company, right, and then all of a sudden you have a good work record, what happened? Just think about it. If you're a recruiter, what is the answer that you're looking at for that's going to change someone's life as they leave there and you hire them? That's what you got to think about. Some of these questions are just so stupid, and I think COVID and I think everything that's happened has brought a lot to the table. Things have changing. So that's a loaded question. Why did you leave your job? I would tell you the truth. I had one badass. I'm sorry, I can't swear on here. Manager, one. That's the truth. But do you tell on an interview? I just told it right here. And I decided to start my own company at that point. But you don't really want to say that. You don't say that kind of stuff because then they're going to look back and say, well, he complains, or I don't think he's going to be a good fit because he had one bad boss. But don't always assume that. Don't sit there and assume that the person's either lying or telling the truth because you don't know. You have to just go by your gut feeling, because if you see, I'm going to give you an example. I looked at a resume, and this was not too long ago, and it had a lot of job changes. She had a lot. Now, I could have easily taken that and put it over in the no pile, but I called her, and I didn't even see it because she didn't put it on there. She enjoys contract work and working for staffing companies because she can work when she wants, right? And she can work a contract. So if you look at an interview, if you look at a resume, do not assume all the time. See, that's what I'm saying. It's a confused question. Look at it, read the words and see. You might say, wow, those 4 jobs on that resume is one company. You see what I'm saying? So as a recruiter, don't assume. Don't put them in that no pile without really looking at it. Now, when you call somebody and if you're interviewing, maybe you get that gut feeling, that they're a job hopper, that they've only had 6 months here, 2 months. You can really determine that. And that's what, that's your part to call that one out. But do you tell the truth or do you lie? That's the way I look at it. The next one, what is your salary expectation? That question to me, it's kind of, everybody says sometimes do it the first question. I don't believe it's the first question. I don't think it should be because you applied for the job. If it says the amount that you're applying for, you kind of know that already. But I would get to know the person first. Talk to them, break the ice, then bring that up. because you can save a lot of time. Now, say on the job board, say they lie. Some of the job boards just create a higher, they'll put, let's say, for example, 50 to 65,000, right? When they know it's only about 50, 52, 55. That's it. But this draws candidates in. I'm just telling you, I know it's the truth. It draws, and not everybody does it, but it does draw the candidates because they're saying, wow, 65K? Okay. But when you answer that question, do you say, I want 65? But you could take 60 or, negotiate. Or do you say it's negotiable? I noticed on Indeed that it said 50 to 65K. I would really expect to see 65K. That's where I was in the range where I was working before. I think that's kind of fair. But kind of on those job postings as a recruiter, keep that salary where it's supposed to be. Don't put it in there to get more candidates, because you're confusing the hell out of some of these candidates. When it says, like I said, 50 to 65, 70K, they're not going to take it at 50. They see the 75 or 65. That's the point I'm making there. So I would say, I feel the second question or third is a good one, because then if you know you're way off, then you could just end it there, and leave on an interview that was worth it. The next one, what are your goals? This one, again, these are just old questions. Think about it. You're in an interview. What are your goals, David? Where are you going to be in 5 years? The questions are outdated. They're so outdated. Where are you going to be in 5 years? Now, again, as a recruiter or a company, what should be my answer? If you were interviewing me right now, what are you expecting when I'm going to say what my goals are in 5 years? Okay, I'm a family man. I have a family. My goal is to continue my education, move up into corporate positions, management. I would expect to be in a different position in 5 years. Is that what you want to hear? Or would you rather hear, listen, I'm a family man, I am just looking for a good job to grow with a company and, just grow and retire. See what I mean? There's so many different answers in that. And these are just old school questions. There's no, years ago that might have worked, but I don't know. What are your goals? What would make me say that you'd want to hire me for saying that? Right? The next one. This one's, I got a couple of them here. Have you worked with a certain software? This would be good for Rob. Hey, there's my cousin. Hi, Emery. How you doing? And I got Nick over there still watching. The next one is, have you worked with a certain software? Let's just say the company's asking you, they're interviewing you, and just say it's Salesforce, just as an example. In the job description that you read, you saw Salesforce. So do you lie and say, oh yeah, I've worked with Salesforce during the interview, and now you have to go home and Google it and research it and rush and try to learn it? Or do you tell the truth and say, no, but you know what? I'm excited to learn it. I know it. You give out that positive feed, that positive energy to that recruiter. Tell me the truth. Do you know how to utilize? Oh, no, but I will learn and I'll work hard. Feel the energy off the person, the attitude of it. And to lie, I say lie, but to tell the truth, it's not. That's not really good to say, because you'll get called out on that when you go to work. I mean, if somebody says you know how to use Salesforce and you don't, you're gonna know it. This one here, it's another outdated question, and I feel they need to be changed. Why do you want this job? I'm gonna say it again. If you're getting interviewed, why do you want this job? That's a real smart one. Well, do you tell them, well, I was fired. I was laid off during COVID. My unemployment's running out, right? There he is. Hey, Travis, we're just talking. How you doing, bud? But why do I want this job? You don't want to tell them the truth unless you assume that you really want to work for that company. And they're going to know as a recruiter, listen, I've researched your company. I've reached out my friends and family. I've told how good the company is. I really want the referrals coming in. That's job, both of them kind of, Travis. It's kind of like, why do you want this job in an interview? For a recruiter when they ask that question. So if you were to ask me, why do I want this job? Do I lie? Hey, my unemployment's running out. I was laid off during COVID, which you weren't. I was fired. You don't. That's telling the truth. Or you could really, what do you want to hear from me that's going to make you hire me? What am I going to say that's going to make you feel like, woo? You know what I mean? So if you say company, it shows a level of effort, interest, potential investment. No, okay, I know what you're saying there. Now I get it. A job or company. You're right. It does show the difference there. I know what you're saying there. That makes. I should have known that was coming from you, because you come up with those good questions and your psychology, whatever you want to call it, on there. The next one. Well, first of all, I believe that is a good question if you answer correctly and really come out with some energy. But I don't think that question needs to be there. It could really just come out of there. Again, old school. Next one. This one really cracks me up. Why should we hire you? I did. I sat down and when you're not in an interview, you can sit down. Why should I hire you? That's a question. What do you want to hear from me? When you say, why should we hire you? Well, I work good with teams. I offer new ideas. I really want to grow with the company. I supervise a lot of people, which you didn't. You can really tell some little bit white lies there, if you want to say. But again, I knew you were. See, now that's why you got me thinking tonight on this, because I sat there writing these questions and they just don't jive. They're outdated, and everybody can answer them in a different way. Like you would, if you were interviewing me, Travis, and I was interviewing you, what would make you hire me for me to say, why should I hire you? Do you understand what I mean? So if the recruiter's not experienced, they're not going to know what to accept. They're just going to like that person because, okay, they met some of it. Wow, they have a great attitude. And that's what it's about. I always say having that conversation with a person, walk in, get to know the person, talk to them, talk about their family. As you talk about that conversation and then you start saying, well, I did this as a recruiter, you can turn it into just a 30-minute conversation. And at the end, you are going to know more about me and I'm going to know more about you by that interview. At Tesla, when I interviewed at Tesla, staff for Tesla, they would take your resume, and this is the way I did it. Okay, took my resume, and then they toss it. I would toss it. Now, I would say to you, listen, we're just going to have a conversation. You're going to know a lot about me, and I'm going to know about you. Tell me about yourself. What do you do? You'd be surprised how it just rolls into about all what you have done. I didn't look at the resume. Didn't look on there that you had 5 years at a company and there's something that happened. If you got 5 to 10 years, something happened. But I don't assume, because reverse that role. Just reverse it. If you've been in this, right, position before, you know what you need to say. So if you're having a conversation, you really sit back and relax, and that really helps. Oh, here we go. You're going to put these words in there. Oh, it's just a position who is controlling the interview. Confidence can help to control the pace and redirect specifically the scope. That is what I mean right there. Because if you're dressed to impress, I always say first impressions, go to the job interview. I was reading an article today where you dress for the job. And I get that. I really do. But to me, that's true. You could, if you're going for an entry-level job, but if you put on a pair of dress shirts and a nice shirt, there's nothing wrong with that. Shave, do your hair and, just present yourself well and your attitude, and people are going to pick up on that. The next one. This is a good one. And it's the same thing. I only got 2 more. What would colleagues say about you if we were to ask them? Now think about that. What would colleagues ask you about you? And tell me about it, right? Do you think you're going to tell them, they're going to say, oh, he's a hard worker, she comes to work on time. Hey, really outside box thinker. We've learned a lot. Or do you ask the couple of people that don't like you? My point is that is a loaded question also. And I'm going to say it. There you go. I am going to say it. Don't answer trap questions. Redirect, reconstruct the question to answer. All right. Travis knows he's into this stuff. I love it. And you're right there. You can turn it around on the conversation. As they're interviewing you, you can kind of interview them right back. When they're asking you some questions, ask something back. And they're going to forget about that one question, because I've done it. They redirect it. That's what he's talking about. Because if you just change that mode, change it up, you're going to see that they might not know. You're going to ask a question that they don't know, and then they stutter, right? And my point is not to put a recruiter down or a candidate. These are questions that just aren't relevant again. And I believe what you said, Travis, there is about a person's in charge, but I would like to believe that's what I'm talking about. Man, you hit it all tonight. But the point of the show again is, and I'm going to call it a night, is really, as a company and as recruiters, talk to your recruiters, teach them some techniques, talk to them about new ways to interview, get into some things that you can talk about yourself, your skill set. That skill set might come off while you're talking. It might come out that you've worked with a certain software, because people are nervous in interviews. They're just nervous. And I'm myself. Yeah, I've been there. Everybody's been in that seat. What do you say? You walk out of there saying, oh my God, what the hell did I say that for? What did I say that for? Or I talked too long. My best thing is just, Dave, shut up. Shut up and just answer the question. Because if you answer it short and positive, I don't know what else they want to hear. But go after that person if they meet 50 to 60% of your qualifications in an entry level, mid-level, manager spot. Look at it. Can they grow? Look at their attitude. Look at their work record. Don't worry about why of 10 years that they left the company. I left one after 9. And I struggle sometimes. What do you say? I had one badass boss. He was bad. I can't stand him. I'm just telling you the truth now because I can. But I'm just being honest. But I wouldn't go on on an interview and say this guy was an ass. 9 years, and here I'm going to go. I'm going to start on complaining on it. But when you don't know about that person behind it, you might say, wow, he's not a team player because he quit after 9 years. He told us he had a bad boss. Well, I'm going to leave you on this, but how many people have had bad bosses? Have you gone to an interview and said, yeah, my boss is an ass? Well, I don't like this person. They didn't like me because the way I dressed or the way I look. That's just a lot of bias. And on that note, I am going to call it a night because I'm still trying to fight this cold. But, comment, feel free, and change it up. And I knew you were going to do that. Authentic and original answers are usually generated by non-prescribed and broad questions. That's on that note, I'm going to end it on there. Anne-Marie, Nick, thanks for watching. And Travis and Rob, talk to your companies as a recruiter. Ask your manager, hey, how can I improve my interview skills? Don't just Google them. Don't just Google it, because that's what you get. You Google the top 20 and you'll laugh when you sit there and actually just read them. Just open that phone up. 20 of them. Not one of them really tells you about what you're going to be doing or anything. So have a good night, and I got to get out of here and get some sleep. So I'll be back tomorrow. Thanks.